Welcome back, folks. I am Jake Ellenbogen, and today I'm going to be talking about some weird stuff going on with Malik Nabers. Why is that concerning to you? Well, he is saying some stuff using just emojis, but he knows what he's doing. Number 9, number 10 with the Rams emoji. This is the way, unfortunately, today is. People care about who follows who on Instagram, and people care how people tweet on Twitter. But look, we're going to get into it. Before we do, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JK Bogan, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Kick. And in addition to that, just want to let you guys know that today's sponsor is Prize Picks. And we still have, of course, the limited time only. We have the Patrick Mahomes Gimme 0.5 passing yards. So you can get in on the action using the code JKBogan. You'll get $50 instantly when you play at least a $5 lineup, and you can use that in your $5 lineup over at Prize Picks. So shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. All right, wacky stuff going on, and it's just, look, this is really like the state of sports, I guess, sports drama in 2025, where we're talking about an effing emoji. But I'm going to bring this up. It is Malik Nabers' official account for whatever reason. He's tweeting this out. Now, as you can see here, right here is what I'm concerned with. You got 9 and 10, the Ram emoji, and the eyes. Everyone, of course, is going crazy. We got Photoshops now. We had Photoshops earlier in the year when, you know, the rumors came out that Stafford was going to get traded. That never really even came close to happening. Cooper Kupp, on the other hand, is a different story, which I heard from a few people. Then you had the number 9 in the Ram emoji, and this was today at 12:30 p.m. It is now almost 3 here on the East Coast. I just really wanted to touch on this because I'm not sitting here saying Stafford's going to get traded. I also don't know. Maybe Malik Nabers, in a weird way, is telling us, oh, yeah, scratch that. It's not going to be 9, 10, and me. Instead, I'm going to go to the Rams, and I'll be with 9. Don't know how that would even work, but the point here is that this is kind of left up to your imagination until we find out what the hell it means. Now, there are a few things that could be happening here. The first thing is they called Malik Nabers, the Giants did, and told him, hey, look, we're trying to acquire Matthew Stafford. We're trying to acquire Cooper Kupp. We're working on this. This wouldn't be the first time the Giants did something with the Rams. They tried to acquire Rob Havenstein. You know, the Rams were interested in Odell Beckham Jr. a few years back, actually a while back. It blew up. They went after Brandon Cooks. But, you know, there's been contact with the Giants in the past, and I'm not saying that he would go there. I'm not saying that he won't go there, but I'm just saying keep an eye on this, because I don't think Malik Nabers is just saying this for the hell of it. You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, does it mean that he'll end up with the Rams? No. Or, excuse me, the Giants? No. But it is interesting that he posted those today. And the Stafford thing is kind of up in the air right now. I mean, obviously, we all assume he'll be back with the Rams, but there are some things that have to be done. Kelly Stafford on her podcast said there are some things that have to be done. The contract, all of that, you know. I just think when it comes down to this, the Giants don't really make a ton of sense. I don't know how they would pull this off. They have about $43 million in cap space. They don't have a lot of contracts they can just move around. You know, and they have some top-heavy players. You know, they paid Andrew Thomas. They paid Brian Burns. You know, Dexter Lawrence. So they have some big cap dollars already on that docket. Now, Cooper Kupp would be a little cheaper, but Stafford, that's where I just don't know how much truth there is to this. Why would the Rams do this? Well, I can understand. I might disagree with it, and I absolutely do. I think it's incredibly stupid. You're 14 yards away from honestly going to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. You would have run roughshod of the Commanders. As much as I respect them, they were banged up, and the Rams were an awful matchup for Jaden Daniels. But, the Rams could very well, my point being, the Rams could very well be playing in the Super Bowl this Sunday if just one thing changes, right? And so I just think it's a little too premature to just be like, yep, we're blowing it all up. And you're not really blowing it all up because getting rid of Cooper Kupp, that's your third member of the core four that would be gone. And then you have Matthew Stafford. This would be a clean break and moving on to the next era of Rams football. What does that mean? Well, I think that they would pivot to Sam Darnold. And I know a lot of people just groaned and moaned and complained about that, and rightfully so. You just watched Sam Darnold absolutely wet the sheets against the Rams themselves, 27-9. So, I get that. But that's where I think the natural pivot would be, unless they're interested in Kirk Cousins' reunion with, McVay, or I don't know. And what would this trade even look like? Let's just say the Rams did trade Matthew Stafford to the Giants, which it just feels so weird because you wouldn't trade Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp to the Giants. If you were going to trade those guys, you'd probably trade them to a contender because you are a contender. Why would you move these guys and trade them to a dumpster fire with the Giants? I don't understand that. So that's the thing I don't understand. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, they do trade Matthew Stafford to the Giants. The Giants hold the third overall pick. I got to be honest with you. If there's any trade to be made with Matthew Stafford, I better be getting multiple first-round picks, and I better be getting high first-round picks, because think about this, okay? The Rams still have to fill the quarterback spot, right? You trade away Cooper Kupp, you're already planning on doing that. You trade away Matthew Stafford, and now you have to find a leader. You have to find a guy who's going to be able to play within the confines of the system. And I just don't necessarily think that is the smart move here, because I think Stafford has a lot of playing time left, and I think they need to just make this thing work. I understand you might not want to give him $45 million in guaranteed money up front this year or whatever, and you might want to have a lower cap hit, but the reality is he's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And he plays his best when his absolute best is required. You can say maybe the stats have been a little disappointing, and that would be fine. You want to judge that? Fine. This year he only had 5 games in which he had all 5 starting offensive linemen, including the postseason. And, of course, he had 6 games without Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. But sure, fine. I'll let you have that. But if you do have that, what about the playoffs, where all anybody wants to talk about is how good you are based on if you have a ring or not? Well, Stafford has a ring. And not only does he have a ring, he had to earn it in a way that not many quarterbacks have to earn it. You lose Odell Beckham Jr. in the middle of the game. You lose your second string or third string tight end. They were down deep. The running back room was banged up. The wide receiver room was banged up. The tight end room was banged up. Look, what Stafford did was incredible, and that should never be discounted. And in addition to that, since that, so, the whole argument was that Stafford couldn't win the big game. He couldn't win a playoff game. He had never won a playoff game. And that was the argument. That was the narrative. Why would they go after him when Jared Goff brought him to the Super Bowl? Well, look at that. Everything came together, and he won not 1 playoff game, not 2 playoff games, not 3 playoff games, 4, and actually turned his record into 4-3 in the playoffs. Then he lost because 2022 was a disaster injury-wise. They had 17 different offensive line combinations. They had a bevy of injuries. Stafford didn't even make it through the season, nor did Kupp or Donald. And yeah, they just didn't make the playoffs. Fast forward to 2023. They start off 3-6. Stafford rallies. The offense starts scoring like crazy. And then you're looking at one of the hottest teams. Stop me if you've heard that before. One of the hottest teams in the NFL going into the playoffs. And they take the Lions down to the wire, 24-23 on the road. Like, absolutely top-notch hostile environment to play in. And honestly, it came down to just a bad call, I would say, on Puka Nacua. They got away with a few things, and they lost by 1 point. Then the next year, they start off 1-4. A lot of injuries, same deal. Stafford, he somehow at age 36, 37, he stays up the whole year, plays all 18 games that was required of him, and he wins a playoff game on the back of the fact that, look, Obviously, the defense helped win that too, not taking anything away from that, but he led the team after they have the whole deal with the fires in LA and they have to play in a neutral site, and you go out and you dominate a 14-win Vikings team, and then you have Philly on the ropes and you just fall short. You had them on the ropes. You're 14 yards away. Every Philly fan was quaking in their boots because everybody knew that game in the divisional round in the snow was probably going to decide who goes to the Super Bowl and represents the NFC. Not to be disrespectful, but that was what everybody felt when the Lions took down the Commanders. That's just how we felt. And sure enough, that was the case. And Stafford, he did everything in his power to get them to that opportunity. And if he is blocked up front, if Jalen Carter isn't basically a free runner at the quarterback, Stafford, we're talking a completely different tune. And the Rams are in, Super Bowl media week. And who knows, maybe I'm in New Orleans doing the thing. But that's not what happened. And so now we're in this whole thing. And I have to say this. The last thing you want to do is overreact. Cooper Kupp, I get it. I mean, you see the end of the season, no catches, one catch. Okay, fine. But Matthew Stafford is a big reason why you were able to overcome these awful, abysmal starts to your seasons, 3-6 and 1-4, right? They said you couldn't make the playoffs when you're 8% chance of making the playoffs. You made the playoffs. Not only did you make the playoffs, you won the division. That's because of guys like Matthew Stafford. You can't find him just out of the blue, right? And just because you saw Jaden Daniels emerge does not mean that there's going to be another one that just emerges. Or same thing with Patrick Mahomes. Just because these guys are, right there, right out in the flesh, does not mean you can go and find one right now. And so I caution the Rams, if you go down this path, I'm not trying to get them in trouble for something they didn't do yet, but if they do go down this path and there is some legs on this Malik Nabers, whatever you want to call it, teasing, that's reminiscent to, I'd say, Jalen Ramsey at this point when he used to tease. And, you knew anytime that demon emoji came out, you're like, oh boy, the Rams are about to make a move, because Jalen knew how to recruit, and he knew how to get people going. And if Malik is trying that and, he's just saying whatever, fine. But if this is real and it's Matthew Stafford going to the Giants, I think the Rams really botched this. It also hurts because I watched Kurt Warner go to the Giants, and that would really be upsetting. But also, and I'm not saying it's likely, but there also is a chance Malik Nabers is coming to the Rams. I'm not saying it's very likely at all, but, he could also be teasing joining, Matthew Stafford in LA. Who knows? I will say I kind of hate reporting on this stuff because there's not really much to say. It's speculation, but it's enough to probably make a video on. At least I think so. And at least when I make videos on this, the whole video isn't just, oh, well, he had this emoji. I'm explaining what could happen, why it could happen. And, I think really simply put, if they trade Stafford, I don't think they're just mailing it in. I think they're trading Stafford and kind of getting rid of that era and just kind of removing him and Kupp at the same time to move on to the next era. Whether I agree with that or not, and spoiler alert, I don't, that would be what they were doing. I don't necessarily think they'd be tanking or anything like that. Keep in mind, you have these guys that are cost effective. You have a young defense. Why would you waste a year of Byron Young on a $1.5 million deal? Why would you waste a year of Kobe Turner on a $1.4 million deal, right? You wouldn't. So I don't think that they would waste a year. I do think they would be players and probably favorites to get Sam Darnold in free agency. I do think that they would probably be aggressive, on the quarterback market, whether that's a Kirk Cousins or, maybe trading up in the draft. And again, to me, this is just me personally. The Rams might feel differently. But if you want Matthew Stafford, I need that third overall pick. You better be giving me that third overall pick, because I'm not just handing you Matthew Stafford on a silver platter. I need the third overall pick, and I need another first rounder on top of that. And I think that's fair. Now, some people might not, but I do. I absolutely believe it's fair. This guy's a proven winner. 7 playoff games with the Rams. He's out. The Rams have outplayed all 7 teams that they've faced, and they've won 5 of those games. They outplayed the Eagles. They were the better team that day, and unfortunately, 3 explosive plays were the difference between that happening. And then they outplayed the Lions, and then down the wire, they got screwed on the Puka Nacua stuff. It is what it is. The point being, though, you can't feel bad about that. You've had 7 playoff games from this guy, and every time Stafford has been asked to step up, he has done so. He has come back from 10, whether it was in the NFC title game or it was in the Super Bowl. Injuries overcame them, right? Snow, he gave the Rams an opportunity, got into the red zone from all the way back in their own territory. This would be a mistake. It really would. Maybe they know this is going to be hard to move on anyway, but look, I understand it's a business. Stafford does deserve to retire a Ram. He's not that far away from retirement. Personally, I think the Rams need to bite the bullet here. Pay him, keep him around. If he wants to retire, fine. But you can start setting the succession plan in motion, whether that's a Jackson Dart in the draft or Tyler Schuff. I don't even know how to say his name. I know people are bringing him up now. Those 2 guys. Or, it's going out and getting Zach Wilson or Trey Lance, or, maybe you trade Cooper Kupp to the Patriots, although I don't know why you would trade him there. But if you wanted to go there, maybe you say, look, we'll give you Cooper Kupp, but, we want Joe Milton. Okay. But there needs to be a succession plan in place. And I think that's what they need to focus on, not necessarily moving on from Stafford. Stafford's got too much left in the tank, and you just watch him against the Eagles, man. It's just one game. You get him in the Super Bowl, there's not anybody I would take over Matthew Stafford in the Super Bowl. I don't care if it's Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if it's Tom Brady. He beat Tom Brady head-to-head. He hasn't had a chance to play Patrick Mahomes head-to-head. Keep that in mind. That was Bryce Perkins. He beat Josh Allen head-to-head this past year, right? So I will take Matthew Stafford over anybody in one game, and I just think right now would be an absolute mistake. And it would be a really bad look for the Rams. And I'm not saying they're going to do this. But again, folks, I had something that I wanted to get off my chest. I have a platform to do it. I'm letting you guys know and informing you guys, hey, there might be something here. And if there is, these are my thoughts. I hope to God people understand and get this very clear. I am against any trade that involves getting rid of Matthew Stafford. And I mean, unless I got Joe Burrow in his prime or Josh Allen, I mean, pretty much I'm going to be pissed if they move on from Stafford. And guess what? They're not getting Josh Allen and they're not getting Joe Burrow. So I'm probably going to be pissed if they move on from Matthew Stafford, or I will be. So we'll see what happens. I think they need to build around him. I think they need to continue to build up the offense. Stafford's not the issue. A healthier offensive line and Cooper Kupp not regressing, not his fault. Injuries claimed that, and they win the Super Bowl. I have no doubt about it, right? So it's a tough pill, and you could say all the time, oh, it's a business. Nah, this feels like being a little greedy. This feels like being impulsive, and this is way too quick to move on if they're doing that. But again, the Rams have not come out and said anything. We've heard nothing from Stafford's camp. And I will continue to update you guys. I'll tell you right now, if you're a Los Angeles sports fan, there's going to be news within the next 24 hours, whether that's the Rams or the Lakers. You have the trade deadline for the NBA tomorrow. The next 24 hours, we are going to hear something, okay? It's probably going to be the Lakers first, but I would not be surprised if we hear a Cooper Kupp trade before the Super Bowl. If he wants to go to the Chiefs and they want to send him to the Chiefs, they'll wait until after the Super Bowl to announce that, and then they'll agree. But I think if it's going to any team that's not the Chiefs, then I think we might hear that before the Super Bowl this week. Remember the words. Rappaport said immediately. They're looking to trade him immediately. So immediately means immediately. Like if you're in danger, you don't want to help 2 weeks from now. You want help right now. Okay? That is the thing. So we're going to find out. It's going to be very interesting. Buckle up. And man, if you have a friend that's a Rams fan is trying to follow the news, tell them to subscribe to my channel because we're going to have a lot of content on here. And I will be getting into the draft. But make no mistake about it, there's still a lot of Rams news and a lot of Rams drama that needs to kind of figure itself out before we even go in that direction. So I'll be watching tape, but as far as the straight up draft prospects videos, they might not be out as, early and often as I was hoping for, because this stuff, buckle up. It's going to be a long and it's going to be an eventful offseason, whether they keep Stafford or not. They've definitely signaled that. There is a new chapter being turned right now. The page is being turned on Cooper Kupp, and it might be turned on Stafford. We'll find out. But that's going to do it for me. Truthfully, in my gut, I don't believe they're going to move on from Stafford. I do think Malik Nabers knows about potentially them going after Cooper Kupp, which would make sense. I think he'd be a really good role model for Malik Nabers. Having him there, veteran presence and everything, young quarterback, likely taken at number 3 overall. At the same time, though, it's very easy to just take that and also mess around with people and throw a 9 in that tweet. So he could have just been like, he got news about Cooper Kupp and he threw Matthew Stafford in the mix. And if that's the case, well, I mean, it's free. You have freedom of speech, but it's kind of annoying. But yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily think Stafford's going to get traded, but I did want to make this video and kind of give you my thoughts on if this does happen. This is where I think they'd go. This is why I'm against it. And this is also why I'm for keeping him. So hopefully I made my point clear. You guys have been awesome, just nonstop support and, subscribing. And, well, obviously you can only subscribe once, but the liking the video, sharing it around. I see it. It means a lot. It helps. We just hit 14 million views on this channel. We are getting closer and closer and closer to that goal of 30,000 subscribers. Probably we'll get that after the draft, I would imagine, or free agency, depending on how crazy it is. But that's going to do it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Check out today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Again, freebie, Patrick Mahomes. And I'll see you guys soon. Later, folks. If you guys haven't checked out The Lounge, you are missing out. It is my side project that I am very excited about. I've been interviewing athletes, analysts, actors, voice actresses, singers and bands. I mean, the whole 9. So we are going to be doing some great things this year. And if you want to get in on the action, you want to follow what I have to offer over there, including my latest interview with Ahkello Witherspoon, soon to be another Ram, and just plenty more, be sure to check out The Lounge with Jake Ellenbogen. The link is in the description below. Give it a subscription, and if you do so, you'll be entered to win a $100 Amazon gift card. That will be dropped as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers. In case you guys haven't noticed, I do have a Discord channel for my community on this channel, and if you want to be a part of it, it is free. The link is in the description below. You can sign up. This is basically a 24/7 Rams channel, and we are almost at 1,100 members. So if you want to be a part of it, just hit the link in the description below.